When a man is born, he enters not merely a world of comforts and promises, but a battlefield of ideas, opinions, and expectations. From the very first breath, voices begin to surround him, telling him what he must be, how he must behave, what he must achieve, and even how he must think. They mold him with invisible chains of conformity and approval, and before he learns to walk, he is already trained to doubt himself. They whisper, "Trust others, trust the systems, trust the voices of the many," but rarely does anyone ever tell him, "Trust yourself." This, my friend, is the beginning of weakness. The moment you surrender your instinct, your decision, making your courage, to someone else's definition of who you should be, you lose the most important weapon you'll ever wield, your own conviction. There is no glory for the man who tiptoes through life obeying every voice but his own. There is no honor in following the crowd over the cliff while your soul screams for a different path. Greatness begins with rebellion, not rebellion against law, but against limitation. There comes a day, perhaps when the soul grows restless or when the burden of regret weighs too heavily, when a man begins to question. He looks around and sees others living half lives, crawling through safety, drowning in routine. And in that silence, a voice inside begins to rise. A voice that says, there is more. That voice is your own. That voice is the compass, the torch, the sword. And if you are wise, you will listen not because it always knows the way, but because it is the only voice that dares to believe in you when others don't. To trust yourself does not mean to believe you are perfect. It means to believe you are capable. Capable of learning, capable of rising, capable of enduring, capable of fighting alone if necessary, capable of falling without breaking, because you will fall. You will be wrong. You will be ridiculed, and there will be days when doubt creeps in like a shadow over the heart. But the man who rises in the morning and says, I still trust myself, that man is unbreakable. That man may bend, but he does not snap. That man is iron forged by fire. Let them laugh. Let them question your methods, your dreams, your desires. For the laughter of cowards has never stopped a determined man. Their smirks, their dismissals, their rejections, these are not roadblocks. They are proof that you are taking a road they themselves fear to walk. Trust yourself, and their noise becomes irrelevant. Their doubt becomes wind against the wind. You become immovable, not because the path is easy, but because your soul refuses to bow. The man who trusts himself is rare, and therefore dangerous. Dangerous to the complacent, dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to the systems that profit from obedience. He cannot be manipulated by fear, nor seduced by comfort. He is driven by something deeper than applause. He does not beg for validation. His reward is progress. His drug is growth. His peace is the knowledge that he follows his own command. But understand this clearly. Trust is not inherited. It is not granted by birth or bestowed by fate. It is earned through war, through countless battles within, through sweat, soaked nights, decision after decision made in isolation, moments of failure followed by the audacity to continue. Every time you choose your own voice over the voice of the doubters, you sharpen yourself, trust. Every time you bet on yourself when no one else will, you become more dangerous, not to others, but to the weakness that once ruled you. History is not made by the agreeable. It is made by those who were told you cannot, and replied, watch me, not with arrogance, but with certainty, not because they had a map, but because they trusted themselves to draw one. Every general who ever led a charge, every revolutionary who ever shattered chains, every thinker who broke the boundaries of accepted knowledge, none of them waited for the world's permission. They moved forward because they trusted what was within. So ask yourself now, do you trust yourself when the silence is heavy and there is no one to turn to? Do you trust your instinct when the road is unclear and the risks are high? Do you trust your mind to make the decision? When you have failed once, twice, 10 times, do you trust your strength to rise again? If the answer is no, then begin, not tomorrow, not after approval, not after another failure. Begin now. Begin by silencing the noise. Begin by walking into the fire of discomfort. Begin by removing the crutches of constant validation. Speak to yourself with the voice of a commander, not a beggar. Move with the certainty of a king, not the hesitation of a pawn. You were not made to be undecided. You were not made to question your every motion. You were made to act, to lead, to conquer. Let me tell you a truth no one else will. No one knows what they're doing in the beginning. No empire was born from certainty. No masterpiece was painted with a map. Every master began as a fool, stumbling in the dark, but trusting that their hands would learn the way. You do not have to be perfect. You must be committed. You must trust that even if you do not have all the answers now, you will find them, or you will create them. And if not you, then who? This world rewards clarity. It bows to conviction. It yields to the man who moves with purpose, not because the world is kind, but because it respects strength. It has no choice, and that strength does not come from external power, it comes from internal allegiance. When you swear loyalty to your own soul, when you trust your blood more than you trust the noise of the crowd, the world will take notice, slowly at first, then all at once, and yes, you will stand alone. Great men often do. There will be stretches of time when no one believes in you, not your friends, not your family, not even those you helped. And in that solitude, your trust in yourself must roar like 1,000 voices. You must be your own army, your own flame in the cold. You must become addicted to your own mission. You must live for it, bleed for it, suffer for it, because trust without action is delusion. But trust followed by relentless execution, that is destiny. Do not make the mistake of confusing pride with purpose. The man who trusts himself does not need to be loud. His presence speaks for him. His results speak for him. His life is his declaration. The louder he moves in silence, the more deafening his triumph becomes. He does not shout to be seen. He builds so that no one can look away, and when he wins, and he will win, he will not attribute it to luck, nor will he pretend it was given. He will look back at the miles walked alone, the nights of uncertainty, the failures, the rejection, the isolation. And he will know, I trusted myself when no one else did. That is the seed of greatness. That is what separates the average from the immortal. The time will come when you stand on the edge of your greatest decision, where one path leads to a quiet, comfortable fading away, and the other into the unknown, into risk, into danger. The only thing that will determine your direction is whether or not you trust yourself. Not your resume, not your resources, yourself. That is the battlefield. That is the war you must win every day, because the enemy is not poverty, not failure, not even fear. The enemy is hesitation. The enemy is the moment you look in the mirror and say, I can't. That is the true surrender. And it must be annihilated with every fiber of your being. Train your mind like a sword. Make your thoughts weapons. Sharpen your judgment. Strengthen your focus. Harden your will. And above all, swear an oath to never betray yourself again. That is the code. That is the law. And once you live by it, the world begins to reshape itself around your determination. You don't need to shout your plans to the world. Let your execution do the talking. Let your work echo louder than your doubts. Trust yourself, and you become a man that even the storms respect. And when they ask how you did it, when they beg for your secret, you won't need to explain. You'll simply look them in the eye, with calm, quiet fire, and they will understand. This man trusted himself when no one else did, and now the world trusts him too.